Welcome to my very quick, not so quick guide on how to be a functioning non-potato member of the BLops fleet. I know half of you have the attention span of a goldfish, so I'm going to go ahead and show the very brief clips of what you're supposed to do on our fleets. And then after that, I'm going to cut to the entire full-length video, which goes in depth and describes stuff for the newer members. So if you were sent this video, it means you need to watch these next couple clips very intently. And then after that, if you want the extra information as to how our fleets work, please stick around. And thanks for being an F1 monkey in a boss fleet, and we'll see you in the space. It's very important that you remain docked until you hear something that sounds a lot like this.
Undock, guys. Undock.
First thing you want to do is hit stop as soon as you're out. And then you're going to grab the person from your watch list, and you're going to right click and hit keep at range 1000. It is very, very important that you hit keep at range and not approach. Now, as soon as we land from a conduit, it is important for everybody to scatter off and cloak up. First thing you want to do is right click and find any type of celestial, asteroid belt, anything, doesn't matter. We're just going to go ahead and warp to 70 on this one, and make sure you cloak as soon as you possibly can. W's in fleet chat, that means it is safe to warp back to the bridger. And never mind, let's use the watch list. And then we're going to go ahead and warp. We're going to warp at 0. Now it is imperative, incredibly imperative, that you are cloaked at this point. I'm going to go ahead and show a very quick example of bridging. Hold down over your watch list, bring up the radial menu, and just hold. As soon as that bridge comes up, you should be able to cycle up to it and bridge right through. So just hover over your watch list, and then you'll bridge through that way. That's the easiest way to do it without missing the bridge. This next portion of the video is a little bit more advanced. It's for those of you that are in a Black Ops battleship. If you are in a BLops, you should really only be using the jump to option unless otherwise instructed to do so. Hello everyone, this is hopefully going to be a very quick, very brief video on how to do our BLops fleets here in Boss. I'm going to try and keep it to the point, keep it simple, and stop from rambling. To that point, we're going to go ahead and jump right into it. Whenever you're on a boss fleet, you're likely going to be starting out with us in a stealth bomber, which for us and our purposes is usually going to be in a hound with focused void bombs. And the alternative is a purifier, but most of the time we're going to be in hounds. We picked up a hound off of alliance contracts. This one actually has a concussion bomb in it. So if you do, they don't always have a concussion bomb in it, but if they do, please be sure to make sure you're loading focused void bombs and not concussion bombs. If you do end up loading the concussion bomb, you're going to end up doing damage to your fleet mates, especially those that are around the target in their drones and such. The focused void bombs are actually stealing capacitor, if you don't know that already. The next real quick question is, why do we use bombers? As you can see here, they're fairly cheap. They're 69 mil a pop or so. And they do quite a bit of damage. So if I go ahead and I load some Nova Rage torpedoes in here, you're going to see that we're going to end up doing 665 DPS. We don't have much tank here, right? But if we have 20 of these, that's quite a lot of damage for a very low cost. So we're going to use bombers in situations where we know that we may not come back from, but the target is worth more than all of our deaths combined. The next step up in the chain is to understand how the whole fleet works. We're going to be using Black Ops battleships most of the time. Black Ops battleships are great in that they are normal battleships, except they have the ability to teleport and bring with them 30 fellow members. That's called a conduit. I know most of you aren't going to look up how a conduit works, so I've took the liberty of doing it for you. This is straight out of EvE University Wiki, putting it up on screen now. So, a Black Ops battleship is able to conduit 30 people with it who are in fleet to a Sino. That's the other half of the equation. We're going to have a handful of guys who are out there hunting down targets who are usually ratting in things that they shouldn't be ratting in places they shouldn't be ratting in. So the hunter is going to go ahead and light a Sino, and then the Black Ops battleship is going to fit the covert jump portal generator, and that's going to give them the option to either create a jump portal. That's called bridging, and that's going to allow you to click on them and then bridge to the destination. Or, more commonly, what is going to happen is they are going to conduit you. You don't have to do anything in that case. All you have to do is be decloaked and be within 10 kilometers of the bridger or conduiter in this case. So it is very important for you to, as soon as you join one of our fleets, listen to who the bridger or conduiter is going to be. Sometimes they'll be an MOTD, sometimes it'll just be said over comms. What you're going to do from that point is you're going to go ahead and add them to your watch list. Now that we've covered the basics, it's time to go ahead and get started. It's very important, however, before we get started, that you understand that when Boss is working, we usually have eyes on us, and there are many streams up that show whether we are undocked and what we are undocked in. So it's very important that you remain docked until you hear something that sounds a lot like this.
Undock, guys. Undock.
Okay, so we heard the order. It's time to undock. In this case, Tyler West is the bridger. We've got him watch listed, or conduiter in this case. We are now undocked. First thing you want to do is hit stop as soon as you're out. And then you're going to grab the person from your watch list and you're going to right click and hit keep at range 1000. It is very, very important that you hit keep at range and not approach. If you hit approach, you're likely to bump the BLops, or in any other case, in any of our fleets, if we're on a Titan or any other thing, if you hit approach and everybody hits approach, there can be some really interesting stuff that happens where you end up bumping the bridger or the BLops out of tether or out of its safety, and that is very, very bad. So always make sure, make sure you're always hitting keep at range 1000 in any scenario. Whether that be BLops, non-BLops, someone's going to bridge you, just hit right-click, keep at range. It may be required in some instances for us to mid in order to get into range of some other targets. So that's what's going to happen here, or I'm going to simulate. I'm going to go ahead and conduit. So our conduit's about to go off here in a second. Now, as soon as we land from a conduit, it is important for everybody to scatter off and cloak up. We don't want people in our mid system to see that we're here. So first thing you want to do is right-click and find any type of celestial, asteroid belt, anything, doesn't matter. We're just going to go ahead and warp to 70 on this one and make sure you cloak as soon as you possibly can. It's very useful to make sure that the enemy does not get a D-scan off on us if they are in local. Now in this case, we're only one jump away. But we are simulating the fact that we are midding in order to get into range to our next target. So it is standard procedure. As soon as you land from any type of bridge or conduit, to warp off, cloak up, and then we're going to wait until the bridger tells us it's safe to warp back to him. There we go, W's in fleet chat. That means it is safe to warp back to the bridger. And never mind, let's use the watch list. And then we're going to go ahead and warp. We're going to warp at 0. Now it is imperative, incredibly imperative, that you are cloaked at this point. If you decloak the fleet, you will incur the wrath of Nem or any other bridger who's mildly annoyed that you just decloaked the entire fleet and we have to start this whole process again. So we're in warp. And you're going to notice when we land that you're not going to see anybody. So to be safe and make sure that we are all at the same spot, as you can see there's nobody here, we're going to look at our distance from the sun. See, right here we're 0.7 from the sun. We're going to type L 0.7. That's going to just double check with everybody that we are in the right spot because we can't see anybody, so we need to confirm that we are on the bridger. We're just all cloaked. In this case, we are. We're 0.7 from the sun, and everybody else can just type L. And what we're going to do is we're going to wait down our jump fatigue timer. As you can see up here, it's at 10 minutes. We're trying to get that under 10 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and show a very quick example of bridging. Hold down over your watch list, bring up the radial menu, and just hold. As soon as that bridge comes up, you should be able to cycle up to it and bridge right through. So just hover over your watch list, and then you'll bridge through that way. That's the easiest way to do it without missing the bridge. Alright, this next portion of the video is a little bit more advanced. It's for those of you that are in a Black Ops battleship. Here we are cloaked in our mid, for example, and we are about to jump onto the target. So I can't believe I have to say this, but we've had some recent incidents, so we're going to go ahead and go over this. So there's three options when a Sino goes up. We have jump to, obviously there will be a Sino in this. That's going to jump yourself to the Sino. Conduit jump to, that's going to conduit yourself and anyone near you. For example, the other bridger might be there. So let's not use this option unless you are the designated conduiter. Please do not conduit those around you unless you know that you are conduiting intentionally. The last option we have is bridge to. This is going to not jump yourself, but allow you to open a bridge to the Sino. So, if you are in a BLops, you should really only be using the jump to option unless otherwise instructed to do so. I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate this, just so that we're extra clear. So here we go, our Sino is up. We're going to jump to Fleet Sino.
You
Here we.
failed to
Oh
jump
wait,
because
I
you are
haven't
cloaked.
uncloaked. So in this case, we're going to decloak. Now we're going to go ahead and jump to the Fleet Sino. And just like that, we didn't conduit anyone with us, and we're on the target.